This is going to think about overpopulation. So another issue that can come up. It can be linked with the environment. That could be the overall theme here. So yes, but we'll have a look at the question. But before we do that, this is going to be a problem solution question. And I just wanted to talk through the way that we're going to approach this. So in one paragraph, we're going to have a topic, support, solution, and result. So that's 4 sentences. Now, to do that again in the same paragraph, to have 8 sentences is quite a lot, really. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 paragraphs with an almost pick and mix selection of these things. So you might have 1 topic and support, and then perhaps 2 solutions and results. Or you might have 2 problems and supports, and then 1 solution, 1 result. So you can see how we can mix and match with our examples there. And we'll do that today so you can really see how we're going to approach this type of question. This might be different with how you've approached it before, and it's absolutely fine to do problem and solution in their own paragraphs. But today, this is what we're going to follow so you can see how that goes. Okay, the question itself. Overpopulation of urban areas has led to numerous problems. Identify 1 or 2 serious ones and suggest ways that governments and individuals can tackle these problems. Okay then, so we're actually being told how many? 1 or 2 serious ones, and suggest ways which governments and individuals, will remember that, can tackle these problems. So we're not tackling overpopulation per se, we're tackling the problems that it brings. Okay, that's a trap that that can be easily fallen into there. Right, so let's think about our plan then. Overpopulation of urban areas has led to numerous problems. So we want to include a problem in paragraph 1 and a problem in paragraph 2, I would say, for this one. So a problem of overpopulation could be poor quality housing, is what comes to mind, which leads to perhaps health problems. Okay, any solutions? The government, let's think about the government and individuals now. Government should have a minimum standard. Maybe they should raise taxes, and individuals should form lobby groups maybe to tackle this. Okay, there we go. So that is our first paragraph there. So you can see how we're structuring that. And now we're going to do the same for paragraph 2. So perhaps we can focus on crime for paragraph 2 as a problem. And what could the government do? Well, the local government could increase maybe police presence, and they could also encourage community projects to keep kids off the streets, maybe. And then individuals could maybe start like a neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch or something like this. Okay then, so you can see how we've got 2 distinct paragraphs with a problem and then various solutions for both the government and individuals. We're not tackling overpopulation, we are tackling the problems. All right, so conclusion then, there are several problems with various solutions, and then we'll use examples from the write-up itself. Okay, so I think we've got our plan. So now we can head into the essay itself. And of course, we want to start by paraphrasing this sentence here. Overpopulation of urban areas has led to numerous problems. Let's have a think. It is believed, we can start with something like this, that crowding in cities and towns has increased the amount of problems that are, increase the amounts of problems in these areas. Okay, so now we're going to state what our essay is going to do. It's not an opinion, so we're just going to lay it out. This essay will examine two major problems and will state how both on a micro and macro level these can be dealt with. Something like this. Okay, let's read it back. It is believed that crowding in cities and towns has increased the amount of problems in these areas. This essay will examine two major problems and will state how both on a micro and macro level these can be dealt with. Okay, let's go into our first problem of poor housing and health issues. In areas with many people living on top of each other, housing may have been constructed quickly and not with quality in mind. And not with quality in mind. Okay, so I know that asbestos is a problem in a lot of places. So we can maybe use that as an example. For example, in the past, asbestos, which is an interesting word, to asbestos, was used as an affordable way to perhaps insulate properties. However, we now know, maybe we can do a full stop. However, we are now aware of its detrimental effects on health. Of its detrimental effects on health. Okay, so poor quality housing and health is a problem in these areas. Okay, in this case, let's think of the solutions. In this case, the government should enact standards, basic or minimum, should enforce minimum standards that are in line with should enforce minimum standards for housing to meet criteria and therefore does not affect the health of the residents. Okay, in order to, let's talk about the lobbying, in order to put pressure on the government, people living in these areas could band together to form lobby groups, exposing the problems and maybe lobby groups which demand action. Okay, let's read this back and see how this is sounding. In areas with many people living on top of each other, housing may have been constructed quickly and not with quality in mind. For example, in the past, asbestos was used as an affordable way to insulate properties. However, we are now aware of its detrimental effects on health. In this case, the government should enforce minimum standards for housing to meet certain criteria, maybe, and therefore does not affect, and therefore, let's be more specific, properties will not negatively affect the health of the residents. In order to put pressure on the government, people living in these areas could band together to form lobby groups which demand action. Okay, so we've got a problem and then we've got a government solution and an individual solution as well. Right, so let's go into our next paragraph, which is all about the crime rates and what people can do to tackle this issue. Another additionally, or maybe we can link, poor housing is one part of the problem, is one problem. Additionally, rising crime rates within sprawling or within large within highly dense or densely populated, that's it, densely populated areas is on the rise. Okay, let's expand this a little bit more. So poor housing is one problem. Additionally, rising crime rates within densely populated areas is on the rise. With it is easier to commit crime when there are these, or in this situation, as you are, or maybe we could say it is thought that you are more likely to more likely to not get caught if you commit crime, as resources are stretched regardless. In a place with, for example, millions of people, it can be easy to be anonymous. Can be easy to be anonymous. Okay, so that's the issue of crime. What can people do? Policing, the government could enforce that. So branches of government could be dedicated to working, branches of local governments maybe working with the police in order to restore or to reduce acts of violence in large cities. So more police presence. To increasing maybe. Presence. Government could be dedicated to increasing police presence in order to reduce acts of violence in large cities. They could also help fund community projects that help keep the younger generation preoccupied and less inclined to commit crime. Individuals could start a neighborhood watch. Let's use a nice word here. Moreover, individuals could start a neighborhood watch, which could which would deter potential issues from happening in the first place. Okay, let's read this back and see how this sounds. Poor housing is one problem. Additionally, rising crime rates within densely populated areas is on the rise. Let's do another impact of overpopulation is the fact that rising crime rates within densely populated areas is on the rise. It is thought that you are more likely to not get caught if you commit crime, as if you commit crime in such places, as resources are stretched regardless in a place, in an area with, for example, millions of people, with let's say with a population in the millions. It can be easy to be anonymous. Branches of local government could be dedicated to increasing police presence in order to reduce acts of violence in large cities. To counter this, we can start with, they could also help community projects. Let's do a full stop there. They could also help fund community projects that help the younger generation stay preoccupied and less inclined to commit crime. Moreover, individuals could start a neighborhood watch, which would deter potential issues from happening in the first place. All right, so we have our problems and then we have our solutions in each paragraph there. So in summary, poor housing and crime has stemmed from overpopulation, or from many people living in closer quarters, maybe. However, there are ways to deal with this, including lobbying and taking initiative to start a neighborhood watch. In summary, poor housing and crime has stemmed from many people living in close quarters. However, there are ways to deal with this, including lobbying and taking initiative to start a neighborhood watch. Okay then, so let's count the words, a bit of a smaller essay here, and see how we're doing. Okay, so that brings us to 300 words on the dot. So that is a realistic amount of words to aim for, and you can see how we've structured this essay here today. So instead of doing two separate paragraphs, we've weaved them in together, so a slightly different technique there. If you've followed along at home, maybe you've liked this method, let us know. We always like to hear from you, and I hope that those two videos helped today on your journey to taking the IELTS and preparing for it. Yes, do let us know if you've got any questions or comments, and we'll see you next time.